Hello and welcome to Guitarist Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.guitarist.com. And our special guest today is Robby Lochnerfrom, the lead guitar player from Jack Russell's Great White. How are you doing today, Robby?
I'm doing excellent.
Now, we're talking today for a couple reasons, but the main reason is you guys, Jack Russell's Great White, just put out this great Led Zeppelin tribute CD, and it's kind of the second one that Jack's done in his career. So talk about, I know this is something you've been working on for a while, the decision to do this, because it's a great CD, I think, from top to bottom.
Cool. It was Jack's decision. He just one day decided, hey, I want to do another one of those great Zeppelin CDs, and just basically do different songs, even though I think we did, 3 songs were on the other one.
Yeah.
No Quarter, Live and Love and Made, but we put Heartbreaker in front of it. I was like, man, if we're doing Live and Love and Made, we got to do Heartbreaker.
Yeah, and what I love about this is, because it's kind of a guitar-driven band, you guys included a track like Moby Dick. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I love all these tracks. I mean, just give people a track listing. I got it in my hand. Whole Lot of Love, Good Times, Bad Times, Misty Mountain Hop, Dancing Days, No Quarters, you mentioned Kashmir, Houses of the Holy, that's always one of my favorites, Trampled Underfoot, Moby Dick, as we mentioned, The Rover, Stairway to Heaven, Heartbreaker, Living, Lovin' Mad, that's one of my favorites on here, and Communication Breakdown, you can never go wrong with that one.
Cool.
And of all these tunes you guys recorded, was there any, I mean, you probably played these tunes 1,000 times, being a guitar player yourself probably, but was there any that you had to learn that were kind of difficult for you to kind of master?
Well, I mean, I had to learn them, go back and relearn.
Yeah.
Haven't played the stuff before. I never played No Quarter.
Oh, okay.
But then, and let's see, what else did I not play? It's Trampled Underfoot. I hadn't played before. So it was a matter of learning those and then relearning the others. And I would say the one I spent the most time on was the solo to Heartbreaker. Oh,
that's one of my favorites, yeah. And I was curious about Stairway to Heaven because I hear people tell me all the time that as far as guitar playing goes, guitar players typically want to learn at least the 2 songs they always want to learn is Highway Star by Deep Purple and Stairway to Heaven. And so what's your experience with that? I mean, like was that a difficult song to do, Stairway to Heaven?
The parts aren't difficult to play, but pulling it off as a band,
yeah,
it's pretty difficult. That's the thing it's not easy as a group to make that sound right.
Yeah, and Moby Dick, as I mentioned, is kind of it's known for being like a John Bonham track. It's the whole band, but like this is a track where the drummer gets to kind of shine. So when you guys were recording the track, I mean, what was that experience like?
It seemed to me like it kind of felt pretty powerful, really. It seemed like it had some thump to it, but
great.
I mean, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. It's something that I had played in the past, many years ago. I played that one, and there's not much for parts for me.
Yeah.
Just get the solos right, don't screw it up, and that's about it.
Now I noticed Tony Montana's not on this. Is he still with the band, or?
Yeah, he's with the band. It was just that at the time Jack wanted to do it. He wanted a guy that was more of a keyboard player.
Oh, I understand. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, and now you guys have also did the Acoustic Bits. That's a CD that came out before this. And have you been working a while on the next studio album?
We've been working on it for a while, but not really as much as I would like. It's just we get so busy and there's just so many things going on that it gets tough to really hone in on it. So, everybody gets kind of busy with their own things too.
Of course. I want people to know listening to this that if you think, it's just another it sounds like it's just another like cover album by one of these rock bands, let me tell you. Even that being the case, I mean, I listen to this since I got it in my car when I'm driving in the car. It's great one of those things to kind of drive down and just have some great rockin' tunes to listen to. So even though it's a cover record, I really think you guys have created a masterpiece here.
Cool. Well, thanks. I mean, we try to make it feel pretty true to you know how it is, because a lot of times you hear people do it and they're kind of covering it, but not really. It's like either you're going to remake it or you're going to cover it.
Yeah,
in this case, we're covering it. You know, for example, if you listen to the Heartbreaker solo, I mean, I spent a lot of time to make that just to know how to play it so it sounded like the record. And there's one teeny little spot where I didn't hit this little double stop, and it drives me nuts that it's not in there, but there's nothing I can do about it after the fact. I mean, I was like, well, everything sounded good. Most people will catch it. The feel is right. But for me, I hear that, and I'm like, oh, where's that one note?
And now you're probably such a perfectionist, too, because like I see that the CD was recorded in your home studio, and you produced it. So,
yeah.
I mean, you must have like quite the ear to hear every little thing like that.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's just something I do notice, a lot of detail. There's a lot of things that I'll notice that are not right. And basically it's done, you know, it's done live, really. We just plugged in and set everybody up. I put, the drummer and the bass player and the keyboard player in one room, put them on headphones. I was in the engineering room. Jack was in the engineering room, and we just went for it. It's like, let's run it down, because we've been doing some shows, and we were recording some of the shows, but none of the recordings were done well enough to use. There was like a couple songs here and there that sounded pretty decent, but the recordings themselves were just not. It's not going to fly. I mean, they're just. What I really needed to do was come in with my own gear and mic everything up separate from what they're doing with the PA. Yeah. So I have all my own tracks with all their own levels that are proper, and then I could mix and do the right thing to it.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. You know, I've heard some of Jack's former bandmates in the past kind of trash his singing ability and stuff. I tell you, I don't know what the case may have been, what they were listening with, but on this new CD, I mean, he, you got to be some kind of vocalist to really be able to cover a guy like Robert Plant, and I think Jack, I can see why he chose Zeppelin to cover. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely in his wheelhouse, and he definitely threw down with it. I mean, he was. I thought he sounded pretty good. And I think that for the most part, the stuff that sounds the best is when he's really going for it.
Yeah.
Like all the high stuff. Some of the lower stuff is not as strong as when he goes for the big notes. He really gets those big notes, like a No Quarter, just killer. And Cashmere.
Yeah.
One big note on that, I'm like, oh, those are the ones he just knocked out of the park.
And I love the Rover on here. That's one of those tunes that people may not really remember. You know, you tend to remember stuff more like Communication Breakdown or Good Times, Bad Times. But I tell you, all these tracks are just really, each performance, I feel, each one of these tracks on the CD really are just killer performances, like you said. And I think maybe doing it live in the studio, you kind of get that feeling, and I can hear when Jack is singing this stuff, like you said, it's stuff that he's really emotionally kind of attached to.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
And you can tell when somebody's kind of just, kind of doing their thing and not really putting their whole heart and effort in this. And Jack, as well as the rest of the band, I think you guys just really shine. And that's one of the things I got to say that's impressed me. You guys have three CDs you put out since, the band's formed. Each one kind of really is unique in its own way. I mean, the first one's is kind of, very first studio album the band's done, and it's kind of a band statement. This is, who Jack Russell's Great White is. Second one was kind of, the acoustic album, and it's some of those older Great White tunes that everybody knows and love. You guys are kind of putting your spin on it acoustically, and then you got this. So each album, even though they're not like three studio albums, each one really kind of stands out, and it doesn't seem like when you guys went and did these albums that you're just kind of wasting your time. Each one really is quite impressive.
Oh, cool! Thanks. I mean, I'm really looking forward to doing another studio record. I want to see us get another one of those out, and I'm just, I've upgraded my studio since we did the first one. So, not that necessarily means that you sonically get better stuff, but I mean, we should sonically get better stuff because I got much better gear than I did then. And I'd
imagine too, as a band, you're much tighter than when the band initially got together. You're just kind of at that point getting to know each other and seeing how everybody works, and now you know everybody much better. Yep,
that's true.
And Robbie, I also wanted to talk about. I really urge people to go on your YouTube page because you've got a lot of cool videos on there. One that really kind of stands out to me, I know it's an older tune you've had up for a while, is Free. And I kind of love the music video on there. It kind of reminds me of a Megadeth video where Dave Mustaine's kind of talking to himself, before the music kind of kicks in, and then you really, your sense of humor kind of comes out in that track, and you're kind of a one-man band. So talk a little bit about that track, and I just love it,
That's actually a song that I've had for years, and then it's been sitting there, and it's been done, and then I thought, I've done some mixes on it, wasn't happy with it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to mix it and do it right, and I mixed it, and then I was like, okay, I need to do a video. What am I going to do? And I was going, well, I'm playing all the parts, so what if I play the different roles? And,
Robby, Robert, yeah.
Yeah. So I play because I played the bass, so play the bass, and then, have one look, and then the rhythm guitar with another look, and then the lead guitar player with a different look.
Roberto, I love that, yeah.
And I'd actually had the two rolls I did before, and I cut my hair right after I did those two rolls after I filmed it when I did the bass and rhythm guitar player. Then I came back and I cut my hair. I go, okay, now I'm going to do it so it looks just a little different, but just all in fun.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about the video. Not just the song, but the video is a fun little thing, and it besides your obvious talent as a guitar player, which everybody who knows who Robby Lochner is, there's no doubt what you can do on the guitar, but it also shows, like I said, your kind of sense of humor. You got a comedy element to what you're doing there. And then I think if anybody goes on the YouTube channel, there's another song I love, I think Best Years, kind of more of a ballad, but what all these things that besides your guitar playing kind of show me is your gift as a songwriter.
Yeah, I mean, that's another track that I wrote years ago, and it was mixed and done. And I was just like, I should just put it out, and I wasn't sure what to do with a video. And then I had this kid that I've been producing, and he did a couple of his own videos, and I worked with him. This was during COVID, so we were on the phone doing it, and he put a phone up to his screen, and I was going, okay, and I picked these pictures out of all these different artists, because it's really written about the artist that listening, I
kind of influenced you, yeah.
So I put a bunch of artists on there, and then the very end, it was a tribute to all the artists at that time who had passed, and not all of them, of course, because there's too many. But just like quick flash through all these different great artists that have passed away, and I thought, okay, this is just kind of cool to see and then hear the song, because it's got a kind of nostalgic feel, and it's not filled with guitar chops or anything like that. It's all about the songwriting and the song, and I've got a bunch of more tracks too that I'll slowly keep releasing like that.
Do you think when you get enough tunes that you might put a CD out? I know that people aren't buying CDs like they used to, but I think for anybody that's a diehard or just even a casual fan would dig checking this stuff out. Because again, when you think about a Robby Lochner solo CD, you might think more of like along the lines of an instrumental guitar thing. But I think this would show people that this guy's got some chops. Not only is he a great guitar player, he can write songs, he can direct his own videos and all that, and he can kind of do it all.
Yeah, I mean, I might do that, and I would consider doing that. Yeah. I had a concept CD that I was working on right at the time that I joined with Jack, and I really haven't followed through on it.
Like they got so many other things to do.
It's a whole storyline CD, and I might finish that, or with these collections of songs, maybe I'll put them
up there,
possibly put them on something, but it's hard to say at this point. I mean, I have 2 solo CDs out, and the first one, you can't even find the first one. The second one we sell at shows, and the second one was actually the first one that I recorded myself, so it was my first shot at producing and just the whole picture. And I think there's some good songs on it. There's a few of them, but I'm not really totally oh, this CD's the bomb,
Well, not so much that, but just kind of show people hey, you think what Robby Lochner's all about, give this a listen. This is check this out. That's what I love to do sometimes with musicians. I kind of follow. And like I said, it shows. One thing impressed me was. You're not a David Lee Roth type or or Axl Rose, but for a lead singer, you got a pretty decent voice, and I was kind of curious about that. Did you thought, well, I'll just try and see if I can sing these tunes because they're my tunes, or did you ever think about having somebody else come in and do it?
I always think about that when I'm doing stuff, but when I'm writing it, if it's something that works for my voice, I figure it this way, that there's a lot of guys who are not great singers, but they write stuff that works for their voice. So I'm going, as long as it works for my voice, that's what matters. Because there's a lot of stuff I can't sing. No, I'm not a great singer. I'm the first to tell you that. But, I'll listen to somebody like, say, Tom Petty.
Yeah.
He's not the greatest singer, but boy,
how many hits did that guy have, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And who doesn't love his music and can sing along to his stuff? I mean, it's like he knew how to write a song that fit what he did. And that would be the point of what I'm doing, is like writing to fit what I do. Because, otherwise I've got, maybe some guys I would call up and go, hey, can you sing this for me?
Yeah, you're right. Because, typically I listen to hard rock and metal, but I listen to a little bit of everything, and that's one guy that I could pretty much listen to any one of his songs, and because they're always pretty singable, and the tracks are memorable. They kind of stick in your head, and to me, that's a great songwriter right there.
Oh yeah, it's great, and the production. I love the production. I'll use some of his stuff when I'm mixing. I'll listen to his stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now I know you got a home studio, Robby, and you produce a lot of the stuff you do there, obviously. But you ever have any other bands come in and you produce them?
I do. I have, different artists I've had come in, just, newer up-and-coming ones that I've worked with over the years. This Emily Air is one, and then Dado. He goes by Dado. It's Nick Dado. His stuff. I had this other kid I used to have come in here. They were actually students of mine.
Oh, wow.
And, Evan Heyman, who was a student of mine, I produced stuff for him. He's pretty much doing his own thing now. Yeah, he's got songs and TV shows and stuff, and so he had to get a studio going. He can't do full production, but he works with a guy that they're between the two of them, they can do it. So.
And some of these tracks we've been talking about, like that you've recorded over years, like I said, I had that song for years, and you put it up on YouTube, and the fans start kind of responding. Were you initially kind of surprised? Oh wow, I'm kind of surprised anybody's even responding, but it kind of must have kind of given you that wow factor, like wow.
Yeah, there is some of that when I see if people are digging. I'm like, oh, it's cool, I mean, for sure. I love seeing that. But I kind of put them out there, and I'm kind of like with Free. I really like the song Free, but I figure there's people who aren't going to like it, and there are a lot of people who aren't going to like a lot of what I'm doing. But then so there's that part to go, I'll just put it out. Who cares? Yeah,
I mean, I like that attitude, because I mean, you don't have to have a number one song with everything you put out, but at the same time, like you said, there's people going to like it, people not going to like it, but for people who like it, it's a cool thing to kind of be able to check out. But when you started seeing people responding to your songs that way, you ever give any thought to like having other people record your stuff, or these songs kind of mean really something because you wrote them? So maybe you don't want.
If somebody wanted to record it, I'd be flattered.
I bet, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I see that you and Jack. This is going back a ways, but you and Jack maybe last year you did a cool cover of Toto's song "Hold the Line," which I think you guys just you like you said you kind of stayed true to it, but you mastered it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of stayed true to it, but it's pretty different because it's acoustic, and then the Jose Antonio Rodriguez playing nylon strings on it, and he crushed it. It's just really good. And
you and Jack, I mean, the whole band is tight, but you and Jack, it seems, because you do a lot of this stuff kind of on the side too. You guys seem to have a great chemistry. Where two of you, I seen where you and him have done like some acoustic shows, just you and him, and like you guys did this cover of the Toto song, and I tell you, together you guys just have that chemistry.
Yeah, I mean the acoustic thing, it's something that we've been doing for since the beginning of the band. He had some offers to do some acoustic shows, and it was just basically, it is just me playing acoustic and then him singing and me singing back in vocal with him. So it was just something that happened that very first year I was with him, and then we just kept doing it. If they come up, it's like, hey, here's another acoustic show. Is it worth doing? Sure, let's do it.
And it's kind of interesting because COVID has got kind of gotten the way for a lot of bands. You guys, I don't know, I want to say you guys really stayed active, but maybe more so than some of the bands. And I dig the fact that you've been working on this Led Zeppelin tribute CD all this time, and it's finally coming out. There's some bands that saying, we're not going to do any live shows. We're not going to put anything new out until after this COVID stuff. But who knows when that's going to be?
Yeah.
And has that affected you guys much, or because again, it seems like you guys have just kind of
it has.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've kept busy because I've been working with different things. I mean, I got a single that's coming out with Leroy Butler. He's the front man for the Baja Men. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No, I'll have to look that up.
The dogs out.
Oh, okay, so yeah. Wow.
We got a track that we're going to release pretty soon, and we've got a couple other songs we've written, but that one is done. And I had the bass player that played on Hold the Line. He plays bass on it, Javi Bajorquez.
Okay.
And I had this friend of mine, Joey Felix, playing drums. And then I was just missing something on the track, so I called a friend of mine, Jamie Savco, to help out with the scats, and he just crushed these scats, or just really bring the song to another level. Super cool. And so we're going to drop that. We were supposed to do it this summer, but, he gets busy with his band, and I get busy, and the song is done. We're just waiting for a video to be done.
Oh, so. Wow. And now, in regards to the new CD you guys put out, the Led Zeppelin tribute, like I said, Tony Montana's not in this, but we got this guy, Michael Oliver. Talk a little bit about him and how you guys got him involved in this.
Michael, I'm not sure how he got involved in it exactly. He was,
okay.
I've known Michael for a little while. I've heard of him forever. He was in a band called Leatherwolf back.
There you go. That's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's a super cool guy, and he's really talented and all, and he just, he plays guitar and he plays keys real well, so Jack was like, hey, why don't you get him to play keys on it or whatever, and play and do all these, so we can do these keyboard songs and stuff, and that's kind of how that came about. And I don't remember. I just called him up, I guess, and said, hey, would you like to? And he's yes.
But you were aware of him from Leatherwood, so that's cool. And
sure.
And now when you, of course, Tony Montana and Jack, they worked before in the other band, playing all these great white tunes that you guys perform live, but what's it like for you to be in a band with these guys and get to play that great, great white material that everybody loves?
It's been a blast.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. We get out and we just have as much fun as you can possibly have, and we just go for it.
And what's interesting, I think, because I've interviewed Tony a number of times too, and he told me it's kind of interesting. Originally he was the bass player on a lot of his stuff, and now he's playing the guitar parts.
Right.
And what's it like to work with Dan McNay? Because he's a great bass player, and I known him from when he was playing with Ronnie Montrose.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's been cool.
And you guys have played some of those events, right? Those Ronnie Montrose Remembered events.
Yes, we have.
Oh, that's fun. And the other thing, I guess, talk about kind of a strange coincidence. As you may or may not know, I also earlier today I got a chance to interview Carmine Appice, and not knowing this, he kind of just let this kind of come out during the interview. He was mentioning to me how Mick Sweet is no longer involved, and there was some talk that you might be working with him and King Cobra, and he said he was waiting to hear back. Could you give us an update on that?
Well, I am working with him.
Oh, well, I mean, he told me he was waiting to hear back from you, and so that's all I know. So I just want to ask you. So,
I don't know what he's waiting on that, but I mean, because we've been working, with Paul Shortino and Rowan Roberts. And I don't know, maybe because we haven't talked in a little while. I've been pretty busy out on the road, but we got like 10 songs written.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. He said, we'd written some tunes. I'm waiting to hear back from him. I haven't heard back from him in a while. So. Anyways, I just thought I'd mention that because I was telling Carmine, I said, "Wow, first of all, Robbie," I said, he's a great killer lead guitar player." And I said, if anybody can fill in Mick Sweet's shoes, I think he's one of the guys definitely that could.
Oh, cool.
Because King Cobra is one of those bands. They have kind of a revolving lineup, and Carmine's the one kind of mainstay, but
right.
But I think you would fit into that band because I was telling Carmine, since he relaunched that band with Paul Shortino, Paul's the perfect singer for that band too, I think. And
yeah.
And Rowan Robertson? Have you ever met up with him or had a chance to play with him?
We jammed before on stage at the Whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, it was some event,
benefit or something. Like I was telling Carmine, I don't know if you know his story from Ronnie James Dio. I mean, brought him over here to America when he was like 17 years old, and he's one of these guys that is kind of still under the radar, but he's got a huge talent, and he just posted a couple of these tracks he did with his band Custard Pie, and if you think all he can do is stuff like what he did with Ronnie, I mean, this stuff that he's doing now kind of sounds like it could have came out from the like 70s like classic rock.
Nice.
So I'm interested to see how he fits in with the King Cobra, but I think it's going to be a killer lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, so far we've been, we were working. I mean, Paul, he's a workhorse. I mean, that guy he works.
Yeah,
We'll get some song ideas, and he's like, "Oh, here we go, and here's a revised. Here's another revised. I'm like, "Wow!" And he just goes and goes and goes. So right now, I mean, I'm just kind of. I guess I better call Carmine and see what's going on.
That's kind of why I said that, but yeah, yeah.
Waiting on some drum tracks is what I thought we were at, but I mean, sometimes you don't keep in touch, and
Yeah, like you said, COVID and everything. Who knows? Things, miscommunications, but yeah, like
I mean, I've been talking with Rowan and Paul. I talked to Paul the other day, so, but mostly because I was in their area, and I was, hey, come on out to a show we were playing, and it didn't pan out.
But he was saying Paul has like his own home studio too, because he lives in Las Vegas these days, and I think Rowan does too. So, have you guys actually recorded anything? You're at the writing stages.
We haven't recorded, but we've not what I would say record tracks, but songs that are pretty well done. I mean, they're really arranged and ready to go. It's just a question of getting Carmine to record his drums, but he had something happen in the studio where I guess lightning struck his house and blew up his stuff.
Wow.
So he didn't mention that. We're waiting on him to get his studio going so we can get those drum tracks.
Maybe he got struck by the lightning and forgot. Who knows?
No, he was actually out of town, so he came in and his stuff was blown up, and it's wow, what a bummer.
Yeah, I can imagine. Wow, that's amazing. But yeah, he says that new CD, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, he wants to have it out like sometime next year. And once that comes out, do you think you'd do any live shows with the band if they were to perform live?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if the opportunity works, I'd love to.
And how familiar are you with their catalog of music? Because like I said, it's unless you're like a diehard King Cobra fan, you might not be, but they got some pretty good stuff.
I've listened to some of it when he initially asked me, to jump in and stuff. I went and listened, and honestly I wasn't familiar.
Like I said, yeah, I could understand that because I mean they weren't a huge band, but I'm sure anybody who's followed Carmine a piece, at least knows the name King Cobra.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course. I knew that. And I mean, Carmine's done a lot of stuff, clearly, and that was his baby. But, he's been in Vanilla Fudge, Cactus.
Oh, yeah, in fact, speaking of Vanilla Fudge, he told me they have a new single coming out with, it's a remake of a Supreme song, Stop in the Name of Love. And
cool.
he says it's the last thing they did with Tim Bogart before he passed away.
Oh, wow.
So that's something to check out. I really enjoyed talking to you, Robby, today. I'm sure we'll do it again, but before we wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to say to the folks listening to this, or anything else you'd like to make us aware of that you're working on?
Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've got some more stuff of my own that I want to get done whenever I get a moment to finish a couple songs that I'm doing, but, that's pretty much it. The King Cobra, the stuff with Leroy Butler.
Oh, wow.
And what else?
And the song with Leroy Butler, did you say that'd be coming out probably in the next week or so?
It should be. I mean, the song is done.
Yeah.
The song's been done and mixed for quite a while. I just was waiting to try and drop a video at the same time, but I'm starting to think maybe I should just get that single out, get it out on all the iTunes and all those places, and just at least get it out so we can start working it a little bit and just see. It's just a single, but it's cool. It's a mix of reggae, kind of his thing is this reggae and different styles that he does with rock. He was like, he wants to hear, some of the rock in there. I go, okay. Yeah. So I did it with a very reggae feeling guitar going all the way through it, but then I put some heavy guitars in there, and it really turned out pretty cool. Oh,
I know the other thing I want to ask you before we go. I seen also up on your YouTube, you put up kind of a cover of you doing a couple of Night Ranger songs. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
Because we had Brad Gillis on our show, The Hangout Live. And yeah, I should mention that, The Hangout Live, which is based on Facebook. But, I mean, we also stream live on the Rams Network on Twitch TV and on my YouTube channel. And I guess we have a Hangout channel on YouTube. I haven't seen it. I went looking for it. I'm like, Matt, where is it? But whatever. So it goes onto my channel, too. But we had Brad Gillis, and I thought, man, how cool it would be to kind of do like a tribute to them and him and whatever by covering one of the songs and just doing the Jeff Watson parts. So
oh wow,
that's what I did.
And did you ever get a chance to speaking of Brad Gillis, hear that live album that he did with Ozzy? It was like they were doing all Black Sabbath tunes. I think it was called Speak of the Devil.
Speak of the Devil. Sure. Yeah.
That's a cool thing. It's been out of print for years. I don't know why, but that was a great one.
Yeah, and he's a super cool guy, great player, just super cool. I actually met him years ago. He didn't remember, and I totally didn't expect him to remember.
Yeah, of course,
I met him and Jack and Jeff back many years ago, and it was hung out at a party, basically an after-hours party, and ended up just jamming guitars. And it mostly was me and Jeff Watson, because Jack didn't even really, just kind of, hey, whatever, came in the room, and he was off doing, they had things going on, and then Brad was kind of, he came in and played a little bit, and then he split. But Jeff and I sat there and played for quite a while.
And the Hangout, does that air like a particular day every week, or just kind of when you? It
does.
Okay.
Every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Oh, that's cool. So we'll definitely urge people to go and check that out. Well, thanks again for taking time to talk with us, Robby. The interview will be going up probably about 2 or 3 weeks from now. I'll let you know the minute it does. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Okay, bye.